What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to Nintendo Open Air Podcast. Luigi is okay. Those are the reassuring words we have received this week. For all those who tuned into the Smash Direct, we know that Luigi met his end at the hands of Castlevania's death. What does the death of Luigi mean for Nintendo? Will Smash spirits light the way to the gaming afterlife? As with any Nintendo Direct, we are left with more questions than we started with. So whether Sakurai stoked your hype train or tragically killed off your favorite character, stay tuned as we'll be going through all the latest Smash Ultimate news and rumors. So the Smash Direct. Are we hyped or do we feel more dead than Luigi?
The second one. I didn't care, but I wasn't going to care anyway. It wasn't for me.
It's for people who didn't have it on Wii U, I guess.
Yeah. And people who are genuinely just Smash fans all around. There are people that this is their game.
There were a couple of elements they announced which piqued my interest a little bit. Like just all the music tracks and stuff they put in, sort of making it a, I don't know what you'd call it, sort of a best of for, all these great game themes, mostly Nintendo, obviously.
Yeah, I think there was like over 30 Castlevania ones that are going to be in this. I think it said.
Just as a collection piece, it's kind of cool for that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
but
they're really pulling the nostalgia bone. I agree, and I like it, and I will buy it. But I don't know. To me, it's just another Wii U port that I'm being asked to spend more money on.
They should have done a pre-order bonus where you can download digitally the entire full soundtrack of 300 songs?
800. There's actually going to be over 800 music tracks.
Yeah, I mean, it's impressive as far as it goes, but that in itself, while it did get my interest a little bit, isn't enough with a fighting game to get me to buy. I'm going to want to see what they do, if they do some sort of single-player mode. It'll have to be something extra interesting, because otherwise I just don't play them enough to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, you had Smash on Wii U, didn't you?
I did. And I didn't look up my playtime on it, but it wasn't high.
I think I did a ton of playtime on both the 3DS and the Wii U one, but
I had a lot on 3DS, but by the time Wii U came out, I was burned. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I've definitely got way more on 3DS than I had on the Wii U because I was kind of that way too. But the Wii U one was definitely the better experience.
I would disagree. The Smash Run to me was the best thing about either of them. I don't know. I feel
the sweet F-Zero level.
It's true. I feel more excited about this than I did after watching the E3 presentation. But I don't know. It's a maybe now.
Still
Before
it
was a no.
Excited. Yeah.
It'll really depend on how many of us pick it up because, of course, it's best enjoyed with other people, I think.
How did our predictions go?
Well, we had one. Did we have any of them right? We didn't get Dig Dug.
I can't remember if I mentioned Simon Belmont was the shoe-in.
I think we did.
But that was because everybody was saying Simon Belmont was going to be in it. So that wasn't really original. I'm used to that one. Oh. Too soon.
Okay.
Yeah, when they showed King Rool, I was like, who is this guy? It's just a character I've never come across before because I don't play a lot of Donkey Kong, I guess.
Oh, well, I know him from Donkey Kong, but he was like a fan favorite on the ballot before, right?
I think so.
Yeah, but I think he was like Ridley. He was like a joke.
Yeah, he wasn't like a serious one. Yeah.
I did see a quote the other day, I think on Nintendo Life, where somebody had actually contacted the English voice actor for Goku, who assures you he has not been contacted by the makers of Smash to voice the character. Which I thought was funny.
They would use the Japanese voice actor anyway. I would hope so. If
Yeah.
you've heard the two, the Japanese one would be much better.
Yeah. So King K. Rool actually to me looks like, if you remember, like I think it was the original Mario Brothers cover for Japan, the way Bowser looked.
Yeah.
He looked like King K. Rool.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, there is a connection there.
Before he became the Bowser that we know and love.
Yeah. Well, I was happy to see the Simon Belmont. That's one of my childhood games that I enjoyed playing very much was Castlevania 2. So that one would make me happy.
Castlevania 2?
But Shovel Knight, just being an assist trophy, that disappointed me a little.
I was really disappointed with Shovel Knight. There were some good characters confirmed as assist trophies. Zero was the other one, who I think would have made much better Echo Fighters than some that we got. Much more interesting.
You could have had Shovel Knight with Echo Fighters, Plague Knight, and
right.
Other Knight,
King Knight.
Starry Knight.
Would it work as an Echo Fighter though? Because aren't their attacks sort of very different stylistically?
Yeah, that's true.
But there is what is it? The Dark Knight that looks just like him. It's
Batman?
just black. No, not Batman in the game.
Oh, is it the Red Knight? Or
no, he's black with red trim. And
yeah, I guess you're right. The one that's like the first person that you fight, the first boss you fight, right?
Yeah, he has that really weird laugh. I remember right. It's been a while since we played it.
Yeah.
I heard someone saw someone who had a little video that they made up putting, Fortnite characters into Smash and things like that. It's all too new, obviously. I don't think they'd ever consider that. And I think that's partly the issue with Shovel Knight is it's not really proven character enough or something.
Yeah,
especially with the
game.
With the non-Nintendo franchises, they're pretty picky about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other character I can think of offhand that's only really had one game and got into Smash.
And is an indie title, ultimately, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, people talked about Shantae at one point, and there's been a few other indie characters they've talked about, and I don't see that happening in Smash because we'll see. Shantae's been around a long time, but she's not.
She has more clout than Shovel Knight. I mean, technically, she would deserve to be there more than him.
Yeah, she has a longer history. She started on the 3DS way back when. Yeah, I would give it to Shantae over Shovel Knight, but I don't see. I only see big, AAA major long-time characters showing up in Smash. Aside from stuff that they want to market, like the latest Fire Emblem character. I can't believe there's another one.
Well, but that isn't the latest. I don't really get why they're adding Chrome.
But that's a Nintendo character as well, so there's different rules, sort of.
Yeah, true. But wasn't the last the last Fire Emblem character they added of the dozen or whatever that they had in the Wii U version of Smash? Wasn't that like the character that was going to be in the next Fire Emblem game? Wasn't that why he was added, kind of thing?
No, I think the last
Roy, wasn't it?
Roy has never made it to the U.S. That's from a very old Fire Emblem game.
Who's Corn then?
Oh, Corn was from the current game. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I thought Corn was the last one, but I guess I was wrong. But Corn was because there was a Player 2 version of Corn.
Right.
Is Ike Fire Emblem or is that
Ike is Fire Emblem?
Okay.
They're all Fire
I always
Emblem
get the Xenoblade and the Shulk.
Shulk.
He's Xenoblade.
He's the only one. Yeah, but exactly. I put him right next to the Fire Emblem characters. Like I pile them all together on my shelf.
Even though he's got the Xenoblade.
Yeah, it's another sword.
There's Lucina. There's Robin.
Mm-hmm.
I only know these characters. Marth. I only know him from the Hard to Get Amiibo.
Yeah, exactly.
Smash. Martha's been in all the Smash, right? Since what? Melee or 64?
Definitely not. I don't remember Fire Emblem characters on the GameCube. Smash Brothers.
He was in
Melee. You didn't know where they were from.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what it was. I was like, who the hell is this? Some weird anime. He must be from some anime or something. Yeah.
Because that's what first piqued my interest in in Fire Emblem, and then when it came out, I knew I wanted to play it. Some of it, or it's kind of connected, I guess.
You're like, who is this androgynous person? I must play as them.
I was more interested with Roy. Roy was the cooler character to me. Marth is, I guess he's the oldest character, but he's just kind of.
Or for those Canadians whose name is Wah.
Well, depends what part you're in.
What?
Roy is pronounced as Wah.
Wah, King, whatever.
Oh, I was like, Marth is what? Never mind.
I'm totally confused as well.
That's just the French pronunciation.
Right.
Well,
like if you were to sound out moi, what would it sound like in English?
Sound out.
I was just doing a Patrick Waugh joke.
I just mean
got a Canadian in the house.
Well, never mind.
So
go Avalanche. Oh, sorry.
That's a long time ago.
Sure was.
Okay, so I know I know we're going to talk about Smash some more, but Dark Samus I thought was a very surprising addition. Are you guys excited? I know you're bigger Metroid fans than I.
Graduated from assist trophy.
Echo Fighters can suck it.
Or, well,
they are useless.
There was like a Dark Samus in the last one, wasn't there? Because like there was
alternate
the skin. Yeah, no.
Yeah, you can pick Dark Samus as a skin. The Echo Fighters. That's just like artificially increasing the roster.
Yeah,
I don't
know. I'm not a Metroid Prime person. Like I like the 2D Metroids, so I could care less. Good for the Prime fans, which are the ones who matter.
Couldn't refresh my memory? Couldn't you like customize your attacks on not just the Mii fighters, but all the fighters in?
Yeah, and you could save them to your amiibo.
Then seriously, why the hell do you need quote unquote Echo Fighters when you can customize each character's attacks anyway? Like I don't.
So you can say you've got over 100 fighters.
It's asinine. Sorry, I think I interrupted you, Jason.
Well, I thought it was really odd too, talking about Echo Fighters, that they added Richter to this. We get our first Castlevania character, and then immediately he gets an Echo Fighter. What?
Yeah.
Well, it was the same thing.
Alucard would have been better.
Same thing with Ken and Ryu, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Did they add Ken?
He even had his own amiibo.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember that, but.
When did they add Ken?
It was always an alternate color scheme.
When they did the DLC.
Skin, whatever.
For the last one. Yeah, I think Ryu and Ken got in at the same time.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Unless Ken is a skin of Ryu.
I thought there was it, or was it two different ones? Because I remember seeing amiibo for Ken.
I don't.
I think
there was
no.
wrong.
Maybe
I'm pretty sure it's just a skin.
I saw. I know who knows the answer.
Wikipedia. Oh, I mean
the internet.
The internet.
Yeah.
But anyway. Let's see. I think. Let's see. What else was some interesting? Going to be a lot of new stages. I thought it was a kind of a cool comparison there they made to the previous Smash on Wii U had 56 stages. This one's going to have 103. That's about it. That was really the only other thing mentioned that we haven't talked about in the stage morph.
I don't know. With that many stages, I wish I could just pick my favorite dozen and only play on those. I don't know if that's an option or not.
Well, don't you get to pick every time you can put in for one when you play on as a multiplayer match?
Yeah, that gets old too if you have to select manually every time. I don't know.
You can there'll probably be a setting to where you can increase or decrease the likelihood of this showing up.
It could be. They turn your Switch into an iPod or whatever thing was interesting. Again, a neat feature, but I don't know if it's going to be practical.
Yeah, to me, that was the best part of this whole Direct, was when it turned to the real-life person or a lady walking down the street and putting earphones in, and then you see it's attached to a Switch, which she's putting in her purse. I don't know who will do that. I will not.
I guess we were. It must be the Mandela effect because Ken was not in Smash in any capacity. It was just Ryu.
Yep.
So.
And we had the music player on the 3DS, but who the hell used that?
I use that
Jason
quite
did.
often. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember him
coins.
saying it.
Yeah. Welcome for play coins, man.
And I was like, seriously? Somebody used that?
Wow.
My wife used to fall asleep to the eShop music. She used to purposely just leave it open and play the music.
But it's weird. It's even like worse with the Switch because it's like
huge.
Yeah, like it's not really a compact pocket size. I mean, I guess you could, but where the placement of the cord is to put it, like, you have to have a purse.
It's sticking out the side. Yeah, there's no way to put it in a regular pocket. Yeah.
Even if you have a case for the Switch, I don't know that even if it's like a backpack or something, one of those cases.
Maybe if you've got crazy cargo pants that have a really long pocket over the thigh or knee or something.
And you got one of those. You got one of those angled plugs on your headphones, right?
Or we could kickstart a piece of headgear that you strap the Switch to your head, so when you're walking, you can listen to the music.
But they've already got that where you can just strap it to your face.
But ours come with headphones. They'll be like really cheap earbuds that we bought at the dollar store. More money.
Now, I do have one other idea of how they could use the soundtrack to their advantage and still not be giving it away online or in a physical form, and that would be to put it in an app. Have a music player inside of the Switch online app.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice. But you know what? People are just still going to take like a headphone jack, plug it in, and then plug it into their computer and record the songs anyway. They'll be up immediately after the game is released.
Those songs that have already been released are already on YouTube. So there's somebody who's waiting to do that.
And a million other sites. Till Nintendo shuts them down too.
That's right, until they find them. Alright. Oh, we did get new amiibo, by the way. We're confirmed, right? For Ridley.
And Dark Samus. Well, we knew Ridley, but Dark Samus and King K. Rool.
Anyone see any orders go up for those yet? Pre-orders?
I haven't
looked. I got my Ridley pre-ordered. That's all that matters to me.
Yeah. I might grab a Simon Belmont amiibo if I see it, if it comes out.
Speaking of seeing things come up online, I noticed on Twitter, even after the Smash Direct, there was not as much of a buzz as there is normally after Nintendo Direct, where every news site has to post every detail. It's just kind of like I was dreading getting on, and it's like you start looking, it's like, okay, the Direct happened, and then you go on back to other news.
Yeah, they were just kind of talking mainly about Luigi.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember the old, this is a little off, but the old Captain N cartoon from the
Of course.
80s, 90s?
Yeah, somebody had a meme they put up where it said the boys are back together again, and it showed
it was Simon Belmont. Was that the last one missing from the main team on that?
Yeah, because there was Mega Man, Simon Belmont, and
Pit.
Yeah, that's the three that it showed. Although Mega Man was green in that cartoon.
He was also a short and fat man.
Yeah, and he had a really annoying voice. But they all did.
Called K. Licorice, if I remember right, but
yeah, I think so.
And then the bad guys were Mother Brain, King Hippo, and Eggplant Wizard or something like that.
Yeah, yep. And King Hippo was like blue. I don't know why I don't know if the Korean animators just were like, we're going to make him whatever color we want, or what, something got lost in translation. And Simon Belmont was like the most unlikable character. but it was interesting that they had people from Capcom, Konami, and Nintendo characters all intermingling.
Yeah.
Maybe Captain N will come to battle.
That would be interesting.
He'd be a good DLC character.
Yeah, that would be
or just as an assist.
But his origins aren't in video games, so that rules him out.
Oh, that's true.
He was strictly a TV character.
Now, since we have briefly mentioned it, we should mention the big controversy going on the internet after the Smash Direct, and that is Luigi died, as I mentioned in the opening, and people were quite upset about this.
Someone mentioned that during the E3 one, they had also killed off Mario and Mega Man.
That's true.
There was like a in silhouette, it looked like Mario was and all in this one. Didn't somebody drive? Who was driving that bus that Mario was in the back of? Somebody drove Mario off a cliff in this one. I can't remember who it was. Was it Villager? Somebody was driving a bus in this one, and Mario was in the back, and it looked like they were driving off of a cliff.
Villager would be an appropriate bus driver.
You're talking about the Captain Assist Trophy.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, Captain. That's it.
Or Captain.
But yeah, Luigi got pretty violently taken from us.
Yeah,
but he's okay.
Yeah, Nintendo versus UK has told us Luigi is okay.
Because he's not real.
What do you mean he's not real?
So I've heard anyway.
He's like Kenny. You can kill him over and over and over again. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then other people are saying that this hints at there was that one mode that was blurred out.
Yep.
And people have analyzed the pixels and zoomed in and tried to digitally remove the pixels. And they claim in the US Direct that it says spirits. And in the Japanese Direct, it shows the Japanese characters for the word spirits. So they say it's spirit mode, but nobody knows what that means.
And I heard someone looking at the new stages they announced for Castlevania, and I forget the other one was. The other one had a sort of dragon thing that would come down and be a boss in the stage. And there's a whole bunch of different bosses in the Castlevania one. And someone was saying that plus, the other stages that have bosses in them, they would take all those and make some sort of a boss rush mode out of them as one idea. But who knows? There's so many directions they could take it.
Smash has really become a really full game every time now. Like, it's just got so much damn content packed in there.
Well, that's the thing. When I did get it last time around on the Wii U, I remember I specifically got a disc version because I didn't want it to eat up all my storage space. And then by the end, it was a massive bloat of DLC and updates and stuff anyways.
Yeah, that's how it is on my 3DS. Like, it feels like it's just... I bought it digitally on 3DS, and it's like... It seemed like every time I would pull it out after a while and try to play it, it's like, there's another update. It's like, oh, man. It's probably the largest file. For some reason, Donkey Kong Country is humongous on 3DS as well. But
how many of us bought the DLC for previous Smash games?
I didn't buy any of it.
I didn't buy any of it.
I cherry-picked a couple of characters.
I bought the characters, but none of the stupid suits or any of that business.
But I did get Mewtwo free for buying both the 3DS and the Wii U versions.
Yeah, same.
And they got a sweet CD out of it that I've never opened that has selected soundtrack titles.
It's a pretty good CD.
Yeah, good stuff.
You can pick it up on eBay for about $3.
All right. So one other thing to talk about Smash before we move away, and that is following after our little controller discussion last week. There will be a Smash bundle. Comes with a controller and adapter. And it looks huge. It looks like a huge box, which is kind of cool looking because it's got the characters across it.
Yeah.
Yay,
get rid of those adapters.
Yeah, exactly. They found a way to get rid of the adapters, and I swear, man, I think it's the same controllers. They've just, they've updated the connectors, but I think they're the same stock since the GameCube era. They've just been handing off every generation.
I think they had a combo pack last time for the Wii U that was just the game and the adapter, maybe. that like sold out real quick.
Was that a GameStop exclusive, I think?
Might have been.
Because I think our friend Cordy that's on sometimes, I think, bought that.
I was able to get one of the adapters day one. They had 2 in stock at Best Buy, and I grabbed one. And then when I saw that they were $100 on eBay, I was like, I guess I would rather have the $100.
Did you sell it for $100?
Yeah. And then I bought another one for $15 one day at Best Buy.
Yeah, and then there was,
and nobody wanted them like a year later.
Yeah, and that was that. They were really only out of stock for like a month period when nobody could get them, and the prices were crazy. And then they were flooded, and nobody cared. Like, who the hell wanted it to begin with? Like, how many Wii U owners were there? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, how much of a run on those things could there have been? But that said, does anybody care about? I mean, obviously, we were Wii U owners, so we don't care about
They told us
adapter.
this is the way they had to play, so we just bought it. That hype train was huge. That was a big deal. Like, I can use a GameCube controller on my Wii U.
We just bought it because we knew it wouldn't be hard to get. Go ahead.
I've never taken it out of the box. Still,
I completely ignored that feature, or didn't notice it. What I noticed more was that you could use your 3DS as a controller for the Wii U version, and I never got around to trying that either. So
I swear the 3DS controller thing used to be free in the eShop.
I thought so too.
But now on my Nintendo, you can use my Nintendo points to get it for free.
I've always known it to be like $2 or something in the eShop.
Okay.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Maybe it was because I didn't buy it, so there had to be a reason why I didn't buy it.
Right.
Or maybe you get it for I think you actually get it for free if you bought the game. If you bought the game on 3DS, there's an option and there isn't there. Yeah.
But I think you had to buy it digitally, maybe. I don't know.
To be a standalone thing, probably.
Yeah.
If you didn't buy the game, but you wanted to use it on Wii U, you probably had to buy the little thing. Oh, well, who cares? Can't use it on your Switch.
And nobody cares.
GameCube controller.
I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it before. Like, none of us and 99% of Smash players don't give a shit about wired controllers. We're not. We're not going to be 3 frames ahead of the punch. It's not going to matter.
Seconds don't matter to us, or the milliseconds don't matter.
Yeah, they really don't. Like, we want a GameCube Pro controller. That's what we want, and it would make perfect sense. They'd sell 1 million of them. It would be, it'd be a huge nostalgia pull. And they won't do it.
And then they could launch it with the Virtual Console, right?
Yeah, they would launch it with they'd launch it with with Smash, and then it would dovetail into whatever their online offerings are. It would make perfect sense. My prediction is they won't do it, but I wish they would.
Yeah.
No, I don't think we'll see that.
Gotta wait for Super Mario Sunshine HD Remastered.
Oh, I don't.
But seriously, a GameCube styled Pro controller, just a GameCube controller with all the modern HD rumble and whatever and wireless. Everybody wants it. A lot of people would buy that. That would disappear very quickly. That would be a hard to get item that they would have trouble keeping in stock, I predict.
Yeah. Well, because they'd only put out 5 of them.
Yeah, that's true. But even at the $70, that they're charging for the Pro controllers, they'd probably charge 75 or 80. They would still sell those hand over fist.
So speaking of the online service going to be launched, we got some new information this week, and I want to point out, I think it's significant. Sort of, yeah. It's significant how we got it. We got it from Twitter, from Nintendo's direct account, which says the online service will be coming the second half of September, which I think all of us thought it probably would be. And we also got a screenshot of Super Mario Bros. 3 being played in multiplayer on the Switch. Or online, I guess. I don't know, supposedly.
But with it being presumably a little over a month out, they're still not willing to commit to an actual day.
Yep.
Which is how Nintendo seems to operate recently. But I don't know if they do that just so people keep talking about them.
Labo, they
What else
talked
to
about
say?
in January, and they gave us a date in May, and they hit it.
They've
But
talked
it
about
was
games like
cardboard.
Luigi's Mansion that still haven't come out yet.
Yeah.
A long time ago. But for this, that they've been talking about for years, just not willing to give us a date yet.
Or any information at all. Yeah, it really feels last minute and seat of their pants, and like it's going to be half-assed. Like,
I agree
okay,
with you there. I feel like this is not because they have a release date that they're not telling us. I think it's because they still don't know.
Yeah.
I think they're still working on it. They don't have a firm release date.
Like, you guys tell us when you can make this work, and we'll tell people that's the day it's going to come.
And they're still trying to figure out how they're going to roll it out, other than just, all right, here's an online service. We have it now. Now you pay us money.
Enhance your online experience for compatible games with this. That's one of the features.
Like,
Yeah, that's
It
something.
also said the online app was only free until the online launches. And then it's going to be part of the online service. But if you don't have the online service, you can't use the app. You're going to lose your Splatoon stuff unless you pay. Or your usage of the Splatoon thing. Do you even check that app anymore? I guess you do because you got your Splatoon thing finished.
Yeah, I think I was probably the only one using it, but I was just looking for one shirt that I didn't have in Splatoon, and I haven't opened it since. I did maybe once by accident, but
Yeah.
I checked out like the Salmon Run when it would be available, which I ended up not even getting on to play, but yeah.
Yeah,
I never bothered with that app. Not that I had anything to put it on particularly anyway.
The website says of the save data cloud backup, details about this feature will be available before the paid service launches in September. It's like, well, you guys don't have much time. So do you think they're going to do like a mini direct? Or do you think they're just going to do a update to their website that people have to comb through and report on?
I think it's going to be more like the latter. There may be some little, Twitter and YouTube announcements, but
I've been expecting like this thing where they come out and they're like, let me make the case for you getting on this online thing.
I just want to see what the compatible games for the cloud backup are and what's not included.
That scary language that they just recently introduced was save data backup for compatible games.
Well, and that said, I think that disclaimer applies to all of them because some games just don't support it.
Like third-party games.
Well, usually indies. Like I know on Steam, any major title, anything I play or care about has cloud save backups, but there's some random crappy things here and there I've noticed don't.
You would think they could just back up the save data from your Switch. Just take whatever save data you have on your Switch. And
someone was saying that might apply to things like Fortnite that automatically back up on their servers anyway.
I was just thinking about that. Fortnite is an example of something that wouldn't be compatible because what would be the point anyway?
Well, yeah, and there's been talk that Fortnite also won't require the online service to play, and Rocket League and stuff like that. There may be some games that don't require it.
I don't know, and I still don't know how that works on other consoles. I know on PC there's no online service fee for anything.
Yeah, right.
But did I interrupt somebody?
I was just going to say, talking about compatible games, there are thousands of games on the Switch now, whether or not they're like Fortnite that, doesn't require it, but there's a lot of small,
I thought we were just up to 1,000, but sorry.
Like bingo and word search.
But I mean, I'm just saying as a general number, there's like almost 1,000 that are there.
But Monopoly and Uno, I'm sure, won't have cloud save support.
If you lost your save data for those games.
Or whatever this comes out this week, this game you've never heard of, but you find out it came out on Steam, 16 years ago. Or whatever.
Please, Nintendo, bring us Lemmings. We're waiting. Yeah. By the way, since I mentioned it and we never talk about it, and it's dead to me, but Barry still plays. Rocket League has announced that they're Battle Pass, which was coming out this month, or Rocket Pass as they call it, is delayed, probably till September. They just need more time to make it perfect.
Okay, what I heard was the sort of unified account system and the crossplay was delayed till September, but that the pass would still come out a week after their August update, which would still include the new system for
Okay,
ranking
maybe
up
that
and
is.
whatnot.
Maybe that is. Maybe it's the unified system. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, I know they said there was going to be an update, and then a week later something else would happen. But yeah, maybe that is the pass. Which I don't know how much it is, but I'm not going to buy it.
Anything timing around September makes me suspicious that it has something to do with Nintendo, but probably not.
Well, that's what I first thought. My first thought was too, but
there was something in the announcement about, pending first party something or other.
Yeah, approval or something, which is
Yeah.
probably Nintendo. Because Nintendo is notorious for whenever you want to patch your game, it has to go through an approval process through Nintendo. Where like they'll be like, this game is being patched on PlayStation and Xbox and PC on this day. And wasn't Rocket League one of those where they're like the Switch patch will be out TBD?
Well, for a while the Switch was still new, but I know what you mean. There's been some complaints from devs about getting patches done, like NBA, that NBA Playgrounds game.
Yeah.
That was they said their excuse for putting out a whole new version of the game was it was simpler than trying to go through the patch process on Nintendo's, through Nintendo's paperwork. But
they're a dream to work with.
But I would think that a substantial portion of this, in this case, maybe Sony with the crossplay, right?
That could be too.
They're the big roadblock for all that. And you guys heard the thing about Bethesda. Now, the original quote that I had read, and maybe you guys can clarify this for me, was it seemed very carefully worded to not call out Sony. It seemed like they were saying you have to have cross-play with iOS and PC or we won't play with you. Well, Sony will do that. That's all Sony will do. Yeah. Sony will not have cross-play with other consoles, but they will do cross-play with PC and iOS.
So that was that's competition.
Yeah. So the original crossplay with PC and iOS, which doesn't call out Sony specifically. It means Sony's still in the game, but then every other article I've seen, the headline is Bethesda calls out Sony. So I don't know. Maybe I read something wrong.
I hadn't heard that one.
But yeah, it was Bethesda. It's some new game. I don't think it's Doom Eternal. I think it's something else.
The Fallout 76.
No, I'll continue on topics while I look it up.
All right. Well, we're going in a very different direction after this, which we're going to talk about another big game coming out at the end of the year, and that's Pokemon Let's Go. So the news this week is kind of worrying news because pre-order numbers are dropping for both the games, the standalone games, and the bundles with the Pokeball Plus. So it's no longer in the top 50 selling games for Amazon Japan or Amazon US. It's currently dropped down to like 61st place in US and 152nd place in Japan. So I know
Smash hype killed Pokemon hype.
Possibly.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like there would always be a dip between when it's announced and pre-sales go up and the time in between when you get close to release. But it's just how much that dip compares to other Pokemon games. I didn't see a lot, actually, of direct comparisons.
Yeah, I think they did say that compared to other games, it's fairly steady with pre-orders as it gets closer to the day of coming out. And this one's dipping a little bit lower than the other ones had. But maybe they've just been playing Pokemon Go for Community Day and remembered how much they didn't like it. And don't want a Switch version.
Maybe.
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Maybe more people than usual have been canceling their pre-orders or something too. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder about that as well. Or maybe just as more people understand that it's not a mainline game. Or maybe they're listening to our podcast. And we're really spoiling it.
The other thing that came up too was, and I'm not sure what this is. This was in an article I was reading. The COMG ranking has also dropped for these games. And the comparison they gave was that Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon were around 300 to 500 points before launch. And the Let's Go is averaging around 38 to 92 points currently, and within the same time frame. Yeah, that's a whole lot less. And a lot of people were giving very negative reviews for Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, and really saying, this is the game we're skipping. So
that is the Canadian oh my god points rating.
I have no idea what that is.
This is going to be Pokemon Amiibo Festival. That's what this is going to be.
Yep, I really think you're right. And it's looking more and more like it.
I'm not buying it.
Oh, you'll buy
it. And it's Elder Scrolls Online, by the way, is the Bethesda game we're talking about.
I'm looking up this rating right now, and I don't know.
I have no idea what is in that calculation.
No, I looked it up, and all I got was things that were
stock stuff.
Yeah, stock stuff.
Orthopedic medical groups.
Yeah, so if you're listening out there in Nintendo Land and you know what COMG ranking is, or if that's pronounced somehow something different, hit us up here on YouTube or on Twitter. Yeah, don't call us stupid, but inform us so we are no longer.
Call us stupid. No, yeah, we have no idea.
But anyway, it's not looking good if it's like less than like a quarter of what it should be.
Yeah. It's like a Nintendo press conference where they say, see this number is higher or lower than this other number.
Less it's less than a quarter of what was a terrible game. The last Pokemon, that's not I don't know. I was immediately not buying it. And I buy friggin' everything. And I was not buying this one.
Well, let me pose this question. Do you think that this is going to be detrimental to the Pokemon franchise? Or do you think whenever they announce...
Absolutely.
Do you think when Pokemon 2019, whatever that's going to be, comes out, will the fan...
This will hurt it.
Will it pop back?
Absolutely. No, I don't think so. I think this will be the last nail in the coffin. I think Pokemon Go, I'm sorry, Jason, was the first nail. And I think this will be the last. I think, you know what I mean? I think people will decide Pokemon has jumped the shark with this. I really do.
It's had a hell of a run.
It has.
But it's hard to say because I don't know if people like age out of Pokemon, like how much Pokemon requires a new generation to always be interested, because if people just get sick of it, or if there's hardcore people that are going to buy the next mainline game no matter what. But if those numbers, with most stuff, you get to a certain age and you're just like, I don't even care about Pokemon anymore. Although I feel like people are gaming older now than they used to.
Well, it's I think for anybody, it seems like you get really into Pokemon for so many games, and then you get tired of it, and because it never changes, or it doesn't change enough.
Animal Crossing.
You would agree, Jason?
Yeah.
How many games did you play through?
I played through all of them up until Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which I skipped. All of them since the earliest one I played was Yellow. My first game was Gold and Silver, but I actually went back and bought Yellow.
Okay.
I think that time that you're talking about where people are getting tired of it, I think that really started maybe around X and Y and then Black and White when they come out back to back. I think that burned a lot of people.
It probably happens anytime somebody has to buy a new piece of hardware. Like, am I really going to go to another generation with it?
Well, no. Well, see, the Pokemon games come out on the previous generation of hardware for longer than a lot of other games.
Yeah. I know Black and White 1 and 2 did that on DS.
Like after the 3DS was out. Go ahead.
Pokemon, it seems to me, as a franchise, it's been being watered down for a long time, and it started with all the spin-offs. Pokemon's got more spin-offs than any other thing I can think of.
Kirby. Oh.
No, I think it even rivals Kirby.
I
Like,
think it beats Kirby. Yeah.
yeah, and then they start trying to pull some of these ideas back into the main line, and it's just, I don't know.
It's
I don't
turned
think they're helping
into
their case.
it's turned into a very big, complicated world that's not terribly accessible for somebody starting out anymore. And so I get where they're going with Pokemon Go or Pokemon Let's Go, whatever. But to me, what it's going to happen is people that are looking for a modern Pokemon game are not going to get one. They're going to get a Switch version of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon with multiplayer, and a watered down one at that. That's more kid friendly, and I think people are going to very much sour on it.
It could be an entry one though for people who aren't familiar with Pokemon to get into the series for the first time, and then
for children, yes, but maybe. for young adults for young adult to grown gamers, no. Like, you know what I mean? Like the kids that I see asking their parents for a Switch are already too old for what I've seen so far. You know what I mean? I don't see this. Again, Pokemon, when X and Y, and you said it, when X and Y came out, people were like, oh, it's great, it's 3D. And then the sheen wore off the 3D very, very quickly. And it's like, okay, it's the same friggin' game again. And it's like this Pokemon, again, should have been an MMO 5 years ago, 10 years ago, should be an MMO now, and it won't be. And that's a shame, because that would make Pokemon relevant again. That would keep Pokemon going, and instead it's going to die.
The other thing about Pokemon is that I'm concerned about is at what point in time does it become even inaccessible to people who are still playing? Like, how many more Pokemon can you remember? Or,
Oh, well, yeah. See, that's the other thing is what burned me out on Pokemon was I got, they do the distros of not the legendaries. They're called, what are they called? Mythical. Thank you. And I had all of them except one in Omega Ruby, and then they just stopped doing distros. And as far as I know, there's no way for me to ever get one aside from, like, you can't even trade it online. You're not allowed to trade these. I think I can still do local trades with somebody, maybe, or something, but it was like it basically became impossible to get that last frigging Pokemon, Deontay, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a great one. That's a fairy type.
And then the next generation, now they've changed around all the Pokemon types. Now they've added more Pokemon. I'm just like, you know what? No, I'm done. My Pokedex is complete as it's ever going to be. I'm not collecting anymore. It's already at like 800. It's stupid.
Was I right, Jason, or is it psychic?
I think it is a fairy type.
Yeah, fairy and rock or something like that.
I have to look it up because
I'm the Pokemon master. See, you got to look it up.
I don't know these as well. Yeah, just give a quick
look.
I
assume that's from Shuffle.
Wow, Barry is the Pokemon master. It is fairy and rock.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Pokemon masters, and we're going to get to this in a moment, but I thought I'd go ahead and mention it. Someone has been playing Pokemon Go recently, so now there's 2 people to apologize to.
Yeah, not really, but I played it for a walk around the block. With my daughter's been, I don't know, she bought some Pokemon socks. She watches Pokemon on Netflix now, which, by the way, watching that cartoon, I feel like you have to have played Pokemon for 20 years to understand anything that happens, because they're just like, my blah 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 type's gonna hit you with whatever, Pikachu, use Bolt, or whatever, use ground pound. I don't know what it is. They call out the names of all the attacks and stuff, and I'm like, this is really boring. She's just in it for the Pikachu.
Unless you were 8 years old and it was all new and you knew all these attacks, like the back of your hand. But yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, but she's still at the age where she'll watch anything with flashing lights on it. So
I didn't know Pokemon was on Netflix. That's a
like,
wise move on Nintendo's part.
There's a Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon Sun and Moon, and Pokemon something else, like Generations, or I don't know what it is.
There's
like
also
3 of them. Yeah.
Pokemon Generations is more adult form. You might enjoy that one more than the older cartoons. They do one for every game that's released, basically.
They all do series for it.
But there's I told her that there was a game and that we could find Pokemon in the neighborhood, maybe. And she's like, "Well, I want Pikachu." I'm like, "Well, I can't guarantee you a Pikachu."
Good luck on that.
We can walk around and see what's up. We got an Eevee, but that means nothing to her.
Of course, she wants a Pikachu. By the way, there is a Pokemon TV app. I know on Android. I assume on iOS.
And it's also free on their website, I believe.
Yeah, they have what they usually have like 5 episodes per season up, right? But they run every season in order, and they put up, like 5 episodes a week or whatever they do of each season. So there's dozens of episodes up because there's like 8 or 9 different seasons, and then they usually have a couple of the movies up on rotation also. So yeah, if you ever I turned my wife onto that at one point, and she was getting her Pokemon fix off the website. But yeah, we were out strolling the other day with the stroller around the park where we used to catch Pokemon, and the wife mentioned, we used to catch Pokemon around here. Neither of us was at all inclined to pull out our phones and search for Pokemon, unfortunately.
It just happened to be Pokemon Go Community Day or Eevee Day or Eevee Community Day or something this weekend. So
yeah,
I think that's the only reason I was able to catch an Eevee.
No, Eevee they aren't that uncommon otherwise.
Oh, okay.
I've seen probably 6 or so since the.
And we caught like a Wooper or something, and like a Hoot.
Yeah,
and probably something else. I don't know. It held her attention for a walk around the block. That was about it.
Yeah, that's to me, that's all it's worth. Sorry.
So anyway, by the way, since we're talking about Pokemon Go, there was one little other tidbit of news, and that is that Niantic has finally, through a European marketing thing, has announced that they're working on player versus player for Pokemon Go that shall be out by the end of the year, which is something people have wanted since the very concept of the game. Not very appealing to me, but I know a lot of people are excited for it.
Unless they completely change the way the combat works, right?
Yeah, it's tap and swipe. If you don't know Pokemon Go, it's just tapping the screen as fast as you can for a while and then swiping to dodge the other Pokemon's attack.
And you run out of Pokeballs at some point, right? Because I noticed
you have
sometimes I'd have to throw 3 or 4 to catch one, and I'm like, I'm gonna run out of these at some point.
Yeah, you have to spin Pokestops, and they gives you items like Pokeballs and berries and things like that. So yeah, but you will eventually run out.
I'm not going to Pokestop.
Then you will be out of Pokeballs.
Good. I love it. Anyway, so yeah, it's what a game. It still had my data from when I last played it the day it was released and then deleted it.
That's right. So before we leave Pokemon Land altogether, there is one other little tidbit, and since you guys are hating on Pokemon Go, I know how much you love Pokemon Quest. And this blows my mind, but we've got numbers for it. The mobile version has earned 3 million in its first week, 8 million in its first month, and it averages around 30,000 a day in-game for mobile. Wow.
Yeah, that's
somebody
out there is paying for it.
I mean, it's wow that it's making Yeah, but I mean, those aren't crazy numbers or anything, but it's still way more than I think,
Well,
any of us would have
it's crazy
expected.
that anyone's really paying for it
Yeah,
outside of like
exactly.
video
Yeah.
game reviewers. But one thing that might make it more impressive too is I think it caps at like $50. Like once you've got $50 in it, you can't put more money into it. You've got everything, so that means it's bringing on new money.
That's weird.
Yeah.
There's more people downloading that? I mean, I don't hear about it in the news, really.
I think it is. Pokemon is still a fairly popular franchise, and it's a free-to-start game, so it's going to draw some attention.
Yeah.
And it's
Like,
Nintendo.
let's download that Pokemon Quest game that was huge a few years ago. And then they're like, I don't know. I guess I'll just put $50 in it and see what all the buzz was about. And then they'll go, oh, maybe that was Pokemon Go.
If someone has mistaken Pokemon Quest for Pokemon Go, I'm very sorry.
That's the casual market for you.
Because I know anytime any of my kids have gotten a new, 2DS or 3DS, whatever, I always go through and grab whatever's, a couple of free games just to give them a few things on there to get going. And one of the common ones is the Pokemon Rumble World, which is, Pokemon and free, and, you get a certain amount of reasonable play hours out of it without spending any money. So I'd imagine it's much the same thing with that one.
And you're done booting up Shuffle, right?
Well, I did a competition 2 weeks ago, and I'll probably check in every once in a while. But yeah, mostly I'm done because I've caught everything there is to catch. I've got all the Mega Stones, other challenges and stuff. I've done all the ones that I care to. So, I mean, I know people who are still going, trying to get all their Mega speed ups and all their, upgrade things as much as they can, but there's not a whole lot of point if there's nothing you're going to be using them for after anyway.
I'm surprised they haven't brought that to Switch. It wouldn't hurt.
No, it wouldn't. Except that it's, essentially it's over now. Like, there's no new content being put out for it anymore. It wouldn't hurt. It wasn't a bad game. But, I don't know, are there many match 3s on there?
Yeah, I'm sure there's more than we know of. I think Max has downloaded some.
Yeah. There's some, there's puzzles type games that are like that. Match 3, Match 4. All the columns ripoffs and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get out of Pokemon Land. Uh-oh.
Before we leave, Mobile Talk, that we did have some numbers via Sensor Tower for Fire Emblem Heroes. 400 million since launch. And that's 6 times the amount of Super Mario Run and 9 times the amount of Pocket Camp. So it's still doing huge numbers. And I wish Max was here to tell us about it, because she's the only one still playing.
So we can garner from that information that Mario is dead and Animal Crossing is dead and Fire Emblem is the hot new thing that all the kids will be all over.
I don't know. Certainly good news as a Fire Emblem fan to see it surpassing Mario and Animal Crossing. So.
Or it might just have the widest appeal for a non-Nintendo audience.
That's probably.
Or it works better as a mobile game than the other franchises do.
Yeah.
Both those are very valid points.
Or because it's anime girls with big titties.
Yeah. Speaking of which, when are we going to get jiggle physics in Smash? All right.
I thought Jigglypuff already had physics.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh, well played.
So, anyways, the newest thing anyway going around the internet is to hack the Switch, apparently, before Nintendo locks you out. And I know this latest discovery is right up Z's alley, and that is that a VR test mode was found on the Switch.
So they say.
So they say.
Yeah,
Could be fake.
It could be fake. It could be just something, built into the kernel. More than likely, it was probably something they messed around with at some point and just left there, because the idea of strapping this thing, like strapping the phone to your face, it's heavy enough. Strapping this thing to your face would be a joke. Just the weight of it would be unwieldy, and it's only 720p, which looks great when you're holding it in your hands. Does not look great when you're looking through magnifying glasses, at the pixels.
Yeah.
It would look terrible.
This doesn't surprise me at all that they would have, tested and tried out this sort of stuff, especially when you look at the Labo Robo Kit. It looks like the visor for that thing was designed to put the Switch right there, and then they just didn't decide to actually do that. But it looks like it was built that it could have been.
And the other thing is, there's no gyros in the Switch itself. They're in the controllers, as far as we know, and that's pretty much that's a showstopper. That you can't do VR without at least some basic, motion control in the unit that's going to be strapped to your face. So the only way to do it would be to have the Joy-Con strapped to it, or attached to it while it's strapped to your face. So could you imagine how that would look? So it's just, I can't. The Switch in its current form just wouldn't be able to do VR. It's missing too many things. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say, you couldn't leave the Joy-Con attached to it. You'd have to have them off to play with them.
Yeah, I mean, unless I guess you had a second controller, right, or a Pro controller in your hands, or two more Joy-Con on a grip. But otherwise,
there is an accelerometer type thing in the Switch itself.
Really?
I think so.
Because to the best of my knowledge, that's all in the Joy-Cons.
I would think so, yeah.
I don't
know.
I've got a diagram here that I saved as a screenshot from one of the Labo builds that was talking about the sensors, and it's got a shot of one in each of the Joy-Cons and one in the main unit. But I don't know exactly which sensor this was because it doesn't say on the screenshot, and I'd have to go through the whole thing to find out.
Okay, well, maybe it's possible. Nothing uses it, and they've never mentioned it, but it could be in there. And then you could theoretically do VR with it if you had, decent motion tracking in the thing. But again, I don't like, I got a fancy new phone that could do it very well, and there's some really neat stuff in it. But at the end of the day, it got old. Having to strap the thing to your face is kind of a barrier to entry. It gets hot. It's I get motion sick with it. There's.
Yeah, I don't think it'd work very well, but it doesn't surprise me that they would have experimented with it.
Yeah, definitely. But there's definitely no way it's coming. Like, I know there's some people out there, none of us probably, that have their hopes up, but I'm saying there's just no way.
If it does, it'll come out at the end of the Switch's life.
It would have to be a mini Switch with a higher res screen. It would have to be another piece of hardware altogether for it to work properly.
Or a Switch headset that plugs in somewhere.
Yeah, now see, that's a possibility. That did cross my mind. They did keep saying, "Oh, this is going to be the center of a galaxy of hardware."
Yeah.
And that the handheld component was the part that was going to launch first.
Labo.
Of course, there's been deaths and stuff since then, so who knows?
And it's obvious from the online that Nintendo's constantly changing their mind, and they don't really know what they're doing.
And I have no idea what they're doing. Yes, online is coming in 6 months. No, sorry, we meant a year and 6 months.
But at least we've made it all the way up to sometime next month, and probably.
Yeah,
probably. It's probably going to happen.
Yeah, we're closer to certainty, but we're still not there yet.
Yeah, we're just not ready to share the details. We'll let you know once we know what they are.
All right. Well, I want to talk about one of the other controversies that, well, this wasn't really a controversy, but a controversy that has come up over the past week. And it's kind of a scary one in little ways, I think. but it is about the Bethesda and reselling games. So basically, what happened is there was a guy had the Evil Within 2 marked as unopened new for sale on Amazon, and a law firm that works for Bethesda sent them a letter and said, "You've got to take this down," along with some other things, and said, "Do it immediately, or we're going to take legal action against you." So scary stuff, kind of.
And the argument that they used was you can't sell it as new if it's not
Right.
warranted by us or whatever.
It's not
Like-
basically
Right, yeah.
from an authorized reseller.
Because you could have opened it and re-shrink wrapped it or whatever, and we don't know that. So that's
Yeah.
that to me is kind of like it's not Bethesda's job to crack down on that.
Right.
It doesn't seem like. But that's, I don't know, that seems like an overreach to me.
And is there somebody at Bethesda that is going through all the listings on Amazon for their games and checking that they're all from authorized resellers?
I don't remember where I heard this from, but apparently the law firm that they have, which is probably one of many law firms that they have on retainer, specializes in basically stuff like this of finding weird loopholes that allow you to stop people from reselling your crap. And but yeah, that was basically their thing. Was they were saying even if it's new, you can't really sell it like new because you're not an authorized retailer. Therefore, it no longer has its warranty through us. So you're not selling it with everything that a new one would have because it doesn't have our warranty. It's something that got blown up pretty big for what it is. But yeah, they basically were like, you've got 30 days to tell us like where you got it from, and you have to quit selling all Bethesda products.
And supposedly this was sent out to other people as well, although no one else has come forward and said this has happened to them.
Yeah, it's just it's an odd thing to just come out of nowhere. Like, I'm just going to sell this game that I bought and never opened, and because you used the word new.
And it's a shitty precedent. I mean, it's crappy for anybody who's trying to resell stuff. I mean, you, Mo, more than any of us probably would be hurt by this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'd certainly be put off. It reminds me of, like I said, I've told you guys before when I posted Mario Kart footage on YouTube from the Wii U and then got a content strike saying you're stealing this content from Nintendo, and I'm like, I just used it from the game.
Yeah, you posted from the game via their utility.
Yeah. So it's a similar feeling to me of the idea of just selling something you've got, and then all of a sudden the company or somebody working for the company contacts you and it's like, you must stop doing what you are doing. You have 5 seconds to comply.
But basically, this
makes them look bad.
Yeah, this was taken as Bethesda is against used games. Is what it come across as.
Which you would think in the increasingly digital marketplace is becoming less and less of a thing anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, makes them look stupid. It seems like a real Nintendo move.
It does seem like a Nintendo move. Do you think Nintendo will start doing this now? Contacting Amazon sellers?
As soon as they're done shutting down everybody else.
That's right. Yeah, we should follow up on that comment there, and that is the lawsuit that we talked about against various ROM websites. Apparently, websites did shut down and have removed
Love ROMs. Love Retro, was it? Love ROMs and Love Retro? So. That have been some of the longest running ROM sites, too.
They not only removed all of their Nintendo products, but they also removed all of their retro games. And there was another large site that I'm not familiar with that shut down, just saying they're coming for us, basically. We might as well.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It creates a wave of panic, which is what they want to do, because anybody who's running one of these sites is not a billionaire just waiting to fight a lawsuit. It's like, if you or me get sued by Nintendo, we don't really have the money to fight it. So it's easier just to do what they say and shut down. which is sad. Like I said, there's a lot of games on there. There's a lot of games nowadays that wouldn't still be as big, if these people hadn't been preserving these ROMs throughout the years. People might not give a crap about Mega Man if Mega Man games had been unavailable for those 15 or 20 years until the Wii Virtual Console came along.
Yeah, I mean
whatever.
and this is how a lot of things are going now. It's kind of like how the studios are all trying to get back the rights to their movies and stuff that they've, sold to TV stations or cable channels or whatever over the years, right? All the studios are trying to kind of get those licenses back so that they can start building their own Netflix competitors or Movies Anywhere or whatever, right? And it's the same kind of thing the game companies are doing. They're like, oh, we want to make sure this stuff isn't out there anymore. We want control of it. Like, I don't know, there's a site called myabandonware.com, I think, that's all old PC games that you can just download for free. And most of them are from companies that just don't exist anymore. And some of them are gray, like the rights are murky. No one really knows who owns this license anymore, but they just put it up there anyway.
And I can't remember. Somebody had pointed out, like, especially with like licensed titles, where I think it might have been Jim Sterling was talking about Alien versus Predator, which was like an arcade game that exists in a ROM, but it's like one company owns the rights to Aliens, one owns the rights to Predator, one owns the rights to release a game, and so it's like these companies would all have to work together to release a 20-year-old game that wouldn't make any money anyway. So that game's just gone. If not,
and it's not even who owns the rights to release a game now; it's who owned the rights back then when that game was released.
Right.
Even that's a factor.
And there needs, I mean, right now in our political climate, there's no way for this kind of legislation to be written, but there needs to be legislation written that goes in, like a rewrite of public domain policy, right? As far as how long things and what qualifies something as entering the public domain. If it's something where a company doesn't exist anymore or whatever, I mean, and should a company pick it back up, they can pull it back out of the public domain and say, no, we own this. But if it should be a thing where if nobody can claim this, or if the various legalities of this and that licensing are just too complicated, it just goes in the public domain.
Yeah. And well, the sad thing is, I mean, I guess it is, at the end of the day, it is illegal, but I always felt when the music download sites were all hot, like if there's something that I can't buy, it's like, am I really taking money from you because you're not even selling it? It's like, I mean, technically, yes, it's wrong, it's illegal or whatever, but if it's out of print, you're not trying to sell it. You don't care about it enough to sell it. And a lot of these games, would be gone if not for these sites, that no one would remember these games, or at least wouldn't have a way to play them. So a lot of those are going away. And I mean, there's tons of games that somebody had a list of, like, there's this many games released for the NES. They're like, the biggest collection that's ever been available for sale was on the Wii Virtual Console, and that was like, 50 or whatever it was for the NES games. And like, there's tons of games that have never been available since the NES. Great titles, I'm sure.
Well, this just basically boils down to Nintendo is going to have, as far as just Nintendo games, they're going to have be the deciding force behind what games you'll be able to play in the future. For those of us who haven't downloaded these games in the past, still have a copy.
Well, almost liken it to a book burning, and that moving forward, these are the games that exist are the ones that we tell you exist.
And
Nintendo has available for sale.
The more difficult they make it to play their games otherwise, the more value their online service has.
Yeah.
Right.
And to some extent, the second-hand market. But you really have to, it's a different level to have to seek out these games.
Well, I think
appreciate them.
I think you'll see more counterfeits on eBay because of it, right? More counterfeit cartridges. Yeah. I think that it might tick up prices on old cartridges. But I think you just see more pirate carts on eBay with like 500 games on a cartridge.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
I guess Nintendo decided, since now they've gotten into the ROM selling business, it's time to crack down on the free ROM sites with the NES Classic and Super NES Classic. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there you just can't get, and you'll never be able to get any other way.
Well, to me, this seems more time to go with their online launch, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
I think it's all about, you know,
and the great
hey,
10 games.
This is the only place you can play these 10 games. You know, never mind the thousands that just got wiped off the internet.
Yeah, or whatever it was. Was it 10 or 20? Can't remember that they've only launched. They've only told us about half of 20 games. 20 games to begin with, and they can only tell us.
They told us about one more, right? Was Super Mario Brothers 3 part of that original?
It was part of it.
Yeah,
it's soccer, tennis, Donkey Kong, Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros, Balloon Fight, Ice Climber, Dr. Mario, Legend of Zelda, Mario 3. No Mario 2 though. So what will this do for the arcade archives? Mario Bros and Super Mario versus Super Mario Bros.
You know, one thing that would make this compelling, this service with all of their retro titles, would be some sort of online lobby where you could socialize, and like watch people play games and stuff. Well, exactly. That's exactly why that won't happen. But you know, that would make it far more compelling to me.
I was just going to say, I like the point that Mo brought up. What about the games that are already released as arcade archives? So they're going to be part of this.
Well, those are perfect arcade versions of games, so technically they're different. These are the NES ROMs, not the arcade ROMs.
Those are Hamster. Those are a third party that has a Nintendo license. So
I just think I looked today in the best sellers, and versus Super Mario Brothers is somehow miraculously still in the top half. I think it was like 14. So once Super Mario Brothers for NES is available, free to anyone who subscribes, where are those sales going? I would guess the toilet.
Yeah. If I was Hamster, I'd be thinking, they're really shooting us in the foot here.
And Donkey Kong
they got a good year head start. Well, Donkey Kong not so much, I suppose, and the arcade version of Donkey Kong is superior to the NES version.
Yeah.
And there will be a portion of people who don't get the subscription who still want the game.
Yeah,
that's true.
And they can always for half the price of the online subscription almost.
Yeah, $8 versus 20 for the online subscription, but you keep it versus that's $20 for a year. So
the thing is, how many people with a Nintendo Switch are like, I really love Donkey Kong, but I only want a 1-to-1 experience of the original arcade ROM, and the NES version is just not good enough for me. Versus how many people are like, I'll just take the NES version that comes free with this.
I think it would be more just people who don't like subscription fees and would be willing to just pay for the download.
Or people who are collectors and will just download it anyway.
Yeah.
Because it's the original arcade ROM of Donkey Kong. I've thought about it. I probably eventually will.
Yeah. Anyone who really cared about these games would have probably downloaded the ROM for free years ago from one of these sites we were mentioning.
Well, who's to say I didn't?
Yeah.
But I still pay Nintendo money for a copy of it on their console sometimes.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with legally purchasing a game.
And I really only do it because somehow I figure I'm getting a more official, better experience that way, even though it's probably not true.
Till they shut down the Nintendo Switch online service and you lose access to all the games.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, but Reggie said we'll be able to buy them.
I think that's off the table now. I don't know. Maybe
They
not.
don't know yet.
They don't know. Yet.
They don't know. I agree. You're right. They probably don't know, but I still think it might be on the table that if they have a rotating stock of games that they let you buy, buy them individually if you want.
I still think that it would be the best move for them to do an NES Classic collection as a promotion, like buy the NES Classic for $60 or buy the Switch for $300 and get all the games included on the NES Classic right here on your Switch.
No, I don't see Nintendo doing it as an upsell. I see Nintendo just be like, well, of course you want both, buy both.
Yeah.
Because that's just how Nintendo thinks.
I feel
You'll
like
find the
they see
money
the
if you
NES
want it.
Classic as a promotional tool more than something that they were expecting to make money off of. But people are buying it apparently still.
And it just the fact that it does bigger numbers than that's still, and I know we're not in the middle of prime console buying season by any means, but right, it does bigger numbers than any of the other consoles. That surprises me for the second coming of the NES Classic. But like I said, I walked into Target on launch day, new launch day, and there was that picture I had sent you guys of just it was definitely over 100, well over 100, if counting the ones they just had on that little push cart. It looked like it was in the ballpark of 150 or whatever. Maybe it's 144. But I have not seen any since that day. They seem to just have been immediately completely cleared out. Never saw one since. I have yet to see any in the wild anywhere.
Yeah, I have seen them in the Walmart locally.
I have not.
I haven't looked.
It surprises me. I don't know who I bought one, and I know one other person that bought one. Got one of each. None of you guys did. None of my other friends did. So you know what I mean? It's like what's it called? It's numbers. It's like ARMS numbers, or Let's Go Pokemon numbers, at least from our informal poll of people. I think one of our other friends in the group that we know of got one, and she's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, she got a Japanese one too.
That's right.
I'm tempted. I'm tempted because it's cheap. It's especially since the re-release. Play Asia has it for, at least last time I checked, like $80. Amazon, you can get it, I think, for a couple bucks cheaper or more, depending. So I'm tempted. Just so I have the entire history in miniature form, because I also bought the stupid one. There's been a few generations of them, but I bought each the Intellivision, Atari, and ColecoVision minis also, which are
the Commodore 64.
I didn't go with the Commodore.
I just saw a really bad review of that one.
Well, they're all poorly reviewed, and none of them are very good. Like I had an Intellivision. That was the console I had growing up before the NES. And the games are not the same. These are poor recreations of the games. Like there's one game that has no levels to it. Like the original game had multiple levels where the board would kind of change and the different robots would come out to attack you, and the game on the little mini version, it's the same robot and the same level just over and over again. They just never figured anybody would play it longer than 5 minutes and figure that out. Yeah, exactly. They figure, oh, this is what that game was. No. I remember that game. This was not that fucking game. This is not. I was angry.
They probably took the ROM off one of those sites and it was an early development version or something.
Or I heard in a lot of cases some of these were recreated. Like the Intellivision one, they scared up one of the original programmers or something. Wow. Like that AT Games, because these are the folks, right, that are also doing the Sega ones. And it's weird because the products that they eventually put out are a little half-assed and not great. But when you hear like the pedigree, like they've got like original programmers from back in the day, and like they sounds like they should be putting out a much higher quality product than they are. So that is what it is. I won't be buying the Mini Genesis for that reason. I assume it has the same crappy emulator that the other ones have, that everyone complains about.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress.
Who needs them? Oh,
I don't know. I think I
I
was
want them for my kid. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Barry.
I remember when it first launched, the NES Classic I wanted, and I just never saw one. And even when they re-released it, I'm like, if I see them kicking around, probably at some point I would pick that up. But I've never seen one, so I haven't had the opportunity.
See, same here. That was how my attitude the first time, and yeah, it was just like they were nowhere to be found, unless you hit a 5-minute window on Amazon or whatever the deal was, right? And then the second time around, like I said, I just rolled into a Target, actually kind of midday, just on my lunch break or whatever. I rolled into my local Target, figuring I wouldn't find any, and they had a ton. But I just happened to have time to do that day. Otherwise, I haven't seen one since, so I probably wouldn't have one either. Because I'm not chasing them. I'm just not anymore.
Yeah. They're
Screw
getting
Nintendo.
restocked. I think you can order them on Amazon or Best Buy and stuff, and the ship date changes, but they're regular stock. And they'll continue getting regular stock through the holidays.
If they outsold the other consoles, then they must have enough of them out there. And I expect you're right. I expect both of them will have plenty of stock through the holidays. If Nintendo really wanted to blow it out of the park, they'd drop a N64 Mini for this Christmas, but that won't. We all know that won't happen.
Or give one away when you buy the Nintendo Switch.
That definitely won't happen. But there would be people that would buy a second Switch to get it.
No, I meant just for not the N64. I just meant like the NES Classic.
Oh, well, yeah.
Some stores could do that, though. Buy a Nintendo Switch and get your choice of an NES Classic or a Super NES. Or, a NES Classic.
I don't think they'll see the need to do that right now.
No,
I think the Switch, I don't know.
I think Smash and Pokemon are going to...
Yeah, just knock it out of the park. Smash might. Smash will do well. I really think it will.
But we thought that with the Wii U version. That came out right at Christmas.
Yeah, but
I mean, I guess the Switch is a little more compelling of a system. It's done well.
It doesn't have the stink on it yet,
Yeah,
the Wii U. Yeah, the Wii U had the stink by the time.
Stink failure.
Right? It did, but by the time Smash came out, it was already like Nintendo's failure console. So the Switch isn't yet, but I think the Switch won't get that reputation just because it had such a good start out of the gate. But to me, it's the Wii. It's the Wii. It's like it's great out of the gate, but immediately starts showing its flaws and starts, it can't get this and it can't get that because it can't quite do what the other consoles can. The Switch has less of that, right? But it's still got a little bit of it, and it's going to become more pronounced as the generation wears on. And again,
hopefully Nintendo learned from this year's E3 and the reception to it. And next year, it's just going to be the most amazing E3 you've ever seen in your life.
It can't be, because here's the problem: is I think Nintendo was really banking on having all sorts of big third-party stuff to show at E3, and it just didn't show up.
Happen, yeah.
I think that's really that has to be what's going on.
That's
here.
A huge question. Is where's the third-party support now?
And I think it took Nintendo as much by surprise as anybody. I think that's really why the E3 presentation went the way it did, is because they were hoping to have Ubi and Bethesda and Rockstar and everybody, dropping something, right? And all it was a delayed. Oh well, yeah, Wolfenstein's still coming, and Dark Souls you'll get eventually. Yeah.
Just to touch on that, there was one other kind of news topic this week about Ubisoft who canceled Steep that was coming to Switch.
Oh yeah.
That's been out since like 2016 on the other consoles.
But they didn't tell anyone about it. There was no announcement that this was canceled. It wasn't Nintendo. In fact, somebody asked them on Twitter, like, "Hey, is there any new details about Steep coming out to Switch?" And they were just like, "It's no longer in development." And then later that day, Nintendo took it off of their website, which means Nintendo didn't know because Ubisoft didn't even tell Nintendo that they had just, we're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, because their
Left
excuse
it up
was,
on their website.
we're working on new content for the pre-existing game.
Which is possible. Like I said, games go on, live much longer than they used to. So they're constantly doing updates and evolving, stuff like that. So maybe it's evolved beyond what Switch could do.
It's a skiing game.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it was a case of, because I remember when it launched, it was kind of disappointing. It got a lot of hype in the beginning, and then when it launched, it was kind of a disappointment. And I have a feeling it was a case of either it was too demanding, or it was just a case of it didn't make enough money, and they figured it's not going to make enough money on Switch to make it worth it. You know what I mean? They might as well just kill it off. Kind of like that Aliens Colonial Marines never made it to Wii U because it launched on every other platform and was just a complete disaster.
There was news about that game as well.
What was the news?
They had found that there was a bug in the code that made the AI do unpredictable things.
Oh yeah, part of what made the game so broken? Yeah, and it was some. What do you remember? What it was, Mo? It was something.
I think it was literally like where there was like a typo in the code, like they just put the wrong word or added an extra letter.
They added an extra letter in something. I don't remember what it was. It was just some common word that was used as a key for the AI component, and somebody just spelled that word wrong, and it broke like all of the it broke all of the monsters' AI, and they all didn't behave properly. They would all they would run around in circles, or they'd just sit there while you shot at them, or they'd just keep running into a wall.
Yeah.
Is that what happens to the randos in Fortnite?
Could be.
Yeah.
Something's wrong with them. That's for damn sure.
There's something. Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with their code.
Yeah. There's something wrong with a lot of people's code on Fortnite. Anyway.
Yeah, actually, if you put in Aliens Colonial Marines in Google, Aliens Colonial Marines typo is one of the things that comes up in the.
It was a big deal that they just found that out recently. I guess.
Well, I think it is time that we wrap up for this evening. Does anyone else have anything they want to add before we shut down?
Yeah, it was the word tether. They added TETHER. Somebody spelled it TEATHER, and that screwed everything up.
I just noticed 2 hours ago a story saying that they've got a launch date officially for the Dark Souls Remastered and the related amiibo for October 19th.
Yeah, can you believe that? It's now October. When did they announce that? Like January?
They first mentioned it, back in one of the earlier directs this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And said it was coming soon, and I think it was. They gave the impression it was coming pretty soon, and then I don't know. Did they ever give any sort of vague? They definitely said summer at some point, and they missed that.
There was a date, I think a little more specific than that, and then the game got delayed, and then they pushed back the release of the amiibo to match the game, so they wouldn't be staggered.
Yeah, it's coming eventually.
But apparently they've got an official date now, October 19th. So
yeah,
and the amiibo is available again. I believe was the other thing.
And again, Dark Souls has apparently a major online component, so that may have something to do with it as well.
Does that confirm we'll get Nintendo Switch Online before October 19th?
I hope so.
Well, October 19th is after the second half of September.
Yeah, that's true.
But this is Nintendo's calendar, so who the hell knows?
Maybe that'll be the game that saves Christmas for the people
Dark
who don't want
Souls?
Smash. Yeah.
How old is Dark Souls?
Old.
Yeah.
But it's old enough people may have forgotten, think it's a new game. No, I'm just kidding.
Anyone here buying it?
No.
That's what I thought.
No,
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think so. But there are fans of Dark Souls that will buy it again. You know,
honestly, I'm more interested in the amiibo than the game, just because. Just because.
Well,
he's doing
one
the
thing-
T-pose.
Random interesting point about Dark Souls, though, is one component of that game, I guess, that's kind of cool is that you can go into somebody else's game and troll them. You can be like a monster in their game or something like that.
There was some other game I heard about recently that was
Doom Eternal is going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to play a demon in somebody else's game. That'd be fun. I could waste some time jumping into people's games as a demon.
Which we didn't mention, but that's also been announced for Switch, so hooray.
And theoretically simultaneous, or as close to simultaneous as they can get it, they've said.
Theoretically, yeah, they basically said that they knew the Switch was a thing this time around, so they developed it with Switch in mind, so hopefully they are working again with panic buttons, so yeah. Which is good. So hopefully they'll be able to release it at the same time, targeting 30 FPS, of course. I haven't heard as much talk about that, but of course there hasn't been as much stuff being announced for Switch.
Yeah.
You don't hear, guess what worse version is coming to Switch lately? Which used to be all you ever hear. Now all you ever hear is, hey, guess what? There's another indie coming to Switch that you've never heard of and you don't care about. And you won't be able to find in the eShop anyway.
And looks and plays exactly like a million other things that you've already seen.
On your phone, probably.
Yep.
Oh, well. Well, that's an optimistic note to go out on, I think.
That is a very optimistic note. So we started with the death of Luigi. And we ended with not being able to find games in the eShop.
And with the death of indie titles on Switch.
No,
they're still going strong. There's every week you can go in there and see a bunch of stuff you never heard of and you have no interest in. And like I said, the sales page is always like almost 100 games or more. It used to be you could put your title on sale to get some notice on it, but now it only shows so many, and then you got to click a show more that just brings you to another one of those boring lists. They really need to figure out how to be able to make it scroll more than one page.
Maybe when Switch Online is live, that's what they're going to do.
It's like, well, you can only scroll one page in thumbnail mode, but once you click the button, it switches to list mode, and then you can scroll more. So they got to work that out, you know. Took people a year to make the news. I haven't even looked in the news lately.
Oh, I should mention, I thought this was just, out of all the important things going on Nintendo, that they did a poll on the news section. Are hot dog sandwiches or
Is
not?
hot dog sandwiches?
Sorry, it's getting late.
Yeah, that's another Splatfest, isn't it?
That was from an old Splatfest. I don't think that's our new Splatfest. But
well, they had hot dogs versus
hamburgers, didn't they?
Hamburgers. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So maybe we'll get hot dog sandwiches or not sandwiches, which, by the way, was all the rage on the internet for about 2 days, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yep.
Nintendo is just looking at dead memes, trying to figure out how to get popular. They're going to reignite this whole thing.
You think there's someone at Nintendo that is being employed specifically to research memes that they can use?
No, because all the ones are really old. They probably just go into an office. They're like, Johnson, what's a meme you've heard of? He's like, there was that boy frog on a unicycle, I think. So there'll be like a Tide Pod Splatfest in a year or two.
Oh boy, we hope not.
They'll be like, that was a thing, right? Tide Pods, food or not food?
The Splatoon community does not need any more encouragement.
Does it still exist? I guess I see stuff on Twitter now and then, but ever since I've tuned out of Splatoon.
As the tide goes out. Yeah, I still see some people playing it.
Nicely played. All right, well, we should wrap up for this evening, since we've got 2 bad Splatfest ideas. All right, so thank you for tuning in, as always. Special thanks to Barry for coming and hanging out with us. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Glad you could make it.
And we popped his Fortnite cherry. Oh.
It was nice to get here while I can. I had a free day, so worked out well. And it was nice to try a new game too. I don't often get that opportunity, so it's a neat little game. I don't quite see as much appeal as some people do, but it's fun. I'm just not great at shooters. I can't aim, so that takes away an element.
The Android version will help you with that.
Yeah, it will. TBD. Oh.
That's right.
Unless you buy $1,000 phone right now.
Right.
All right. Well, we
made it to work on old phones. My old phone
made it so far in without talking about Fortnite.
Yeah, we got to the closing here. By the way, we have to say that Mo totally called that Fortnite skin for the Galaxy phone.
Well, I didn't really call it. It was rumored out there. I was just reporting on rumors.
Oh, I see. I was going to give you credit for it. You could have took the credit.
So Mo's going to go to a Best Buy tomorrow to get the Galaxy skin.
Yeah, somebody suggested this on Twitter, that you go to Best Buy and log into your Fortnite account on one of the demo phones to get the new skin, and then log back out.
I'm sure it would be. I mean, it would behoove people to do that. It gets just gets people through the door, gets foot traffic in looking at phones. I'm sure Samsung and Best Buy would be all for it.
I wish they would offer that as a feature. I would go and do it. Come in and demo one of our
as
phones.
A promotion. Yeah, exactly.
That'd be pretty cool. Will I do it otherwise? Probably not.
And I did play it on a Note 8, and it runs great. I have not experienced it hitches here and there. It's not perfect, but I haven't experienced the kind of things that people seem to be griping about. And Epic put out a thing about 4 gigabyte phones. I checked my phone; it's apparently got 6 gigabytes. I don't know how much of a difference that really makes, but like I said, it seems to run fine on mine.
Yeah, the Reddit kids had posted some laggy stuff, just basically saying that the game was super slow and laggy, but it's also on a cell phone. It's available everywhere else. Play it there.
What I'm more concerned about, we've noticed this in talking to Mo, when me and Max are playing in handheld mode. We'll be looking at the screen and Mo will say, there's an enemy at such and such place. I can't see him. I can't see where Mo is shooting, but he says there's someone there, and there obviously is. I'll see him later. But playing on
I can find Waldo too.
But coming from a TV to a Switch, that's a kind of a handicap. Going from a Switch to a phone, I just wonder how much more difficult it will be.
Yeah, they're just 1 pixel at that point.
Well, that said, I don't know. I've only played a handful of rounds, but I swear I think I can see people further away than I can on the Switch. Like the draw distance does seem a little bit better as far as that goes, but I might be crazy.
It sounds like you need to play with us and find out.
Yeah, it's hard to gauge that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we need to get.
I'm just good at spotting people. You could see them too. I'll play in handheld. We'll see if it happens.
All right. Well, as I was saying, we should close out for the week. So thank you for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, you can check us out on YouTube. Hit us up on Twitter at NOA_podcast. And of course, listen in on Stitcher and iTunes. And eventually, maybe sometime, watch us play on Twitch if you want to check us out there. We're pretty fun to watch, I guess. We're interesting. We may not be good, but we're at least interesting. So thanks for watching and have a good night.
Good night.
Pray on, folks.
Good night.